Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Man here. Hope you're doing well. So, this weekend we had a new A Quiet Place movie. It is obviously a franchise that started in 2018, directed and written by John Krasinski. I'm actually a huge fan of this franchise. The first one, A Quiet Place, was my favorite movie of 2018. Yes, that's even the same year we had Black Panther or Avengers Infinity War, the first Aquaman, the first the Bumblebee movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. A Quiet Place was my number one movie that year. I think it was a brilliant movie, both in the acting, both in the directing, screenplay, the whole 9 yards, basically. Then we had to wait 3 years for A Quiet Place Part 2. That was originally going to come out in 2020, but it got delayed because of the pandemic, so they pushed it out a whole year later. Now, I think the second one is still good. It's still a good movie. I think that movie, the problem with that movie, it retreads a lot of stuff from the first one, and also not having John Krasinski in the movie, I think hurt it a little bit. But it's still a good film. I still enjoyed the second one. I don't think it was as good as that first one. And now we got A Quiet Place Day 1. Oh no! This is a prequel, obviously. The other movies are 400 days into when the aliens came to Earth. And I was looking forward to this. It's the first day of this alien invasion. It's going to be set in New York, one of the loudest and busiest cities in the world. And as we know with The Quiet Place, the key is to so putting it in New York was like, oh, this would be cool. The mayhem, the destruction, the chaos, all the noise. How are they gonna... Ooh. Then you got Lupita Nyong'o in here from 12 Years a Slave, where she won an Academy Award. Obviously the Black Panther films, the Jordan Peele film, Us. She's an excellent actress. And you got Joseph Quinn in here from the last season of Stranger Things and Eddie Munson. So I was looking forward to see what he can do in his first real big film role. We're also going to see him later this year in Gladiator 2. And of course he got cast as Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four movie coming out next year. So I was like, you know what? It's not directed by John Krasinski, but that's okay. He was off making the movie If. That came out in May of last month. But hey, I want to see that. I'm a fan of the first two, especially that first one. So let's get into A Quiet Place Day 1. Positives. Lupita Nyong'o. I like how the trailer doesn't give away her story, her background, and I won't reveal it here, but I thought it was a very human story, something that people will connect with right away. And Lupita Nyong'o does a great job in this film, no surprise. She has a cat with her, and it's really good, cool. Kind of reminds me like John Wick and his dog, or Will Smith and his German Shepherd in I Am Legend. And she's great. Her chemistry with Joseph Quinn later on in the film is very good. Their dynamic is great. And then Joseph Quinn does a great job. He brings some humor in moments, some emotional moments, scary moments. He showed a lot of range in this role. Considering he doesn't show up until about halfway through the movie. That was the thing, I was like, where is Joseph Quinn? He's all over the posters. He's all over the marketing, trailers. and he doesn't show up until halfway through the movie. But when he does, he makes an impact. Love the cinematography. There's a lot of interesting shots and lighting in this movie. Sometimes it reminded me of Aliens, the Alien films. Sometimes it reminded me of like I Am Legend, with like the post-apocalyptic, changing of New York, or like almost like a Walking Dead type of feel in the city. I really like that. It brought a new and interesting tone and look that we hadn't gotten in the other Quiet Place movies. A new setting. Like what does the world look like in this environment? In a giant city. The deterioration of a city after a major, alien invasion. This movie was only an hour and 40 minutes. Just like the first A Quiet Place was like less than 90 minutes. And even the second one was like around the 90, a little bit over 90 minutes. This one's only an hour and 40, so it is the longest movie in the franchise so far. But once again, compared to so many movies these days, being 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, to have like a nice hour and 40-minute movie, it told a complete story, great character development, and that's the other thing. I like how this movie is very character-driven. This is very much yes, it's an alien invasion movie, but you can also look at it as a character study drama. It's not like in most blockbusters, it'll be all action, 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 alien mayhem, destruction. So overall, like in terms of positives, this was a well-made, character-driven, acted film. But I do have some negatives. I wish we got more of the monsters. Yes, we saw them in the first two movies. We know what they look like. We know we know about them. But, once again, you set this in New York. I want to see mayhem. I want to see destruction. I want to see chaos. I want to see, like, Ian Malcolm versus, ooh, ah. Then they're running and screaming. Chaos. Chaos, Mary, chaos. You really don't get that much of the monsters in this movie. I don't know if it was a budget thing. This movie also only cost $60 million to make. So, once again, compared to how blockbusters are normally, 3 hours, 2.5, 3-hour movies in a $200 million budget, $250 million budget, coming at only $60 million, maybe the budget had to be, because the budget was so low, they couldn't use the monsters more. I don't know. I wanted more monster mayhem. Other major complaint with this movie, this is day one. And I want to see that destruction of a city, especially New York. We don't get to see the destruction of New York. We see like in the trailer, them coming down, hitting buildings and all that. And then our main character, gets thrown, hits the car, blacks out. And then when she wakes up, all the destruction is over. It looks like a wasteland. It looks like The Walking Dead city, abandoned, or I Am Legend. And I thought, what a missed opportunity. You set this in New York, but we don't get to see the destruction and the chaos. What was the point? Not enough tension and suspense. That first movie has so many scenes of on the edge of your seat. Tension, suspense, all of it. Even the second one did. And I still remember going to see that first one where people would be in the theater and be afraid to even open their bag of snacks or go in and reach and get some popcorn to put in their mouth and hope that crunching noise doesn't happen. Because that suspense, that tension, that silence. Now, I gotta remind people, this is day one. Day one of alien beings coming to Earth that nobody knows about, knows nothing about these creatures. Nada. No. Nothing. At least in the first and second one, they are set 400 days since the aliens invaded Earth. 400 days, over 400 days later. Over a year plus later to figure out how can we survive these aliens? You can't make noise. You have to be silent. If you go near water, that is kind of like their weakness. They can't hear around water, waterfalls, rain. So that's where you can talk. You know this, because we saw it in these movies. But that was 400 days later. This is day uno. So tell me, how is it on the first day, when these aliens have never came to Earth, that we know of, how is it somehow on the first day, you already know that you have to be silent all the time? I don't know about you, especially in New York. I don't know about you. That would never happen in real life. You would never figure out that quickly that silence is the way to survive. Not in the first day. Maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. Maybe even almost a year later till you finally figure that out. Also, water. How do you know that you can talk when there's water? When there's a waterfall or a little, water thingy in the town, or rain coming down. This is day one. But somehow these characters know all about this already. We know, the audience, because we've seen the first two movies. Well, this is day uno. They should not know on day uno. Look how long it took us to figure out 9/11. Who were the terrorists on 9/11? It didn't take the first hour. The first hour, we were still figuring out, did the plane just hit by accident, or was it hijacked? You know what I mean? So how do people with an alien invasion of aliens we've never seen before know that you can't talk? You have to be silent, and water is where you can talk. Overall, I still enjoyed the movie. I still think it's probably the weakest out of the three so far. I would still give it a 4 out of 5 based on the acting and the character development and the new scenery of being in New York. But other than that, like I said, I think it is a step down from the first two. It's still a good movie, but I wanted more destruction, mayhem in New York. I wanted more of the monsters. And like I said, I don't understand how these people know all these things on the first day. See A Quiet Place day one? Are you a fan of the other Quiet Place movies? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave your comment.